Hello, I'm Simon Owens, and today we're talking about how the New York Times and the Washington Post have different business strategies. 10 years ago, these papers were in more direct competition with each other for talent and scoops. They both had very similar business models that relied mostly on digital advertising. Neither of them really had paywalls at all. It was basically they had their print version of their newspapers, and then they had their websites. The print newspapers were largely regional, whereas the websites were national and were competing for national advertising. Today, they still compete in terms of breaking news and talent. They're both competing for Pulitzers and Polk Awards and stuff like that and trying to get big scoops, but their business models are steering them in different directions. The New York Times, as you've probably noticed, has gone all in on paid subscriptions. That's not to say it doesn't have other revenue streams, but it's a subscription first company. It's super focused on improving the value of its paid bundle, not just through news, but through other products like cooking recipes and crosswords. In fact, its cooking recipe and crossword products were the fastest growing products in terms of the number of new subscriptions that it had in its last fiscal quarter. The strategy has largely paid off. It now has over 8 million paid subscribers, and it's on track to hit 10 million subscribers within the next few years. Basically, its subscriptions now make up the vast majority of its revenue, and it's going to continue making up a larger and larger portion of its revenue going forward. The Washington Post also is trying to grow its paid subscriptions, and it's been tremendously successful. It just hit 3 million paying subscribers, so that's incredible. There's only a few other outlets that have reached that size in terms of subscriptions, but it charges way less than the New York Times. So even though it has fewer subscribers and it makes less per subscriber, like I'm able to get my Washington Post subscription for only $4 a month because I pair it with my Amazon Prime account. It's also not solely focused on getting to people to hit its paywall. In fact, the Washington Post actually publishes a lot of content that doesn't appear behind its paywall at all. It isn't affected by the pay meter. It's completely 100% free. And why is that? It's because it's clear that the Washington Post is vastly trying to increase its global reach and is in some ways prioritizing web traffic over conversions into paid subscriptions. Why? Well, because advertising plays a huge part of the Washington Post's future and its revenue streams. So something that people don't always realize is the Washington Post operates, in addition to its newsroom, two separate technology platforms. One is called Arc, the other is Zeus. Arc is like a publishing platform. It competes kind of with WordPress. It licenses its technology to hundreds of media companies so that, basically every single company that licenses it is working on the same publishing platform that's kind of white labeled and catered to their publishing needs, and they use it for things like basic day-to-day publishing, analytics, running their subscription paywalls, all of that kind of stuff. So that's creating a technology layer against the whole publishing industry. Zeus is kind of similar, but it's a programmatic ad platform. It also works with publishers to sell and distribute ads, and like Arc, it overlays with their already existing technology. It's basically building an ad network that will allow the publishing industry to kind of standardize its advertising, make it really easy to target across a massive distribution, and will essentially hopes to counter the advertising heft of Facebook and Google, which is largely thought to be kind of an advertising duopoly on the internet. And a key thing to remember also is that the Washington Post is owned by Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Amazon is the fastest growing advertising company and is now third behind Facebook and Google. Every year it's posting these monster gains. It has advertising across things like Twitch, across its IMDb streaming channel, but most of its advertising money is made directly on Amazon.com itself through the search ads, the sponsored posts that appear above your search results when you're searching for individual products. Like that's a hugely growing revenue stream for Amazon, and easily its most profitable unit. So it's clear that like while the New York Times is trying to become the greatest publisher in the world, the Washington Post is trying to become the greatest publishing platform. The New York Times is a journalism outlet that employs a good tech team, whereas the Washington Post is a tech company that happens to employ a good editorial team. It's not inconceivable to think that sometime in the future it'll be almost an afterthought that the Washington Post happens to own a newspaper, and instead it'll be mostly thought of as kind of a publishing and advertising platform. And it's my prediction that in another 5 years, these two companies will be vastly different, and we'll barely even think of them as being working in similar fields or competing with each other. Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe on the channel you're watching this on, and definitely sign up for my newsletter. It's at simonowens.substack.com. All right, see you tomorrow.